Welcome to another episode of Sideline Sanity with me, Michele Tafoya, sponsored by Legacy Precious Metals. There has never been a better time to invest in precious metals. Go to legacypminvestments.com, legacypminvestments.com. They can help you out with all of your questions about investing in gold and silver. Today's episode revolves around a couple of beautiful things in life. First, puppies and babies. And second, a simpler life. Now, the two kind of go hand in hand. The reason, and I recently wrote about this on my Substack, which if you don't get, you should subscribe to. It's free after all. Of puppies and babies. Why is it that we love them so much? And what happens when they grow up? That's the first part of what we discuss. The second part is yearning for a simpler life. I think simpler lives are seductive. I think we have examples out there today for all of us to look at of a beautiful, simple life. And we think, damn, maybe I should just move to Montana or Nebraska and live an easier life. Maybe I should do that. I'm going to discuss that in full detail and give you my thoughts. And all of that is coming up next.
For nearly 3 decades, she's reported the action from the sidelines. She started very young. She's covered the NBA, NFL, Olympics, and the college football and basketball national championships. And now, during these insane times in our world, Michele Tafoya thinks we need a serious dose of sanity. This is Sideline Sanity with your host, one of the sanest people on planet Earth, Michele Tafoya.
So as I mentioned on my Substack column, I wrote of puppies and babies, and I'm going to share it with you in a way that is a little bit more conversational here. I write, you always hear when you see commercials on TV, they always use babies and puppies, and those you just watch. Most people. I realize not everyone loves babies and not everyone loves puppies, but lots of people do. And so advertisers use those visual props, if you will, to get your attention. And you just go, oh. I mean, it's why there's a puppy bowl during the Super Bowl, right? And you'll see another one this year. When Rihanna takes the stage at halftime of the Super Bowl, she's going to have some competition on television from the Puppy Bowl. And I like Rihanna, but I mean, we're used to Beyonce and Prince and Springsteen and U2 and the Rolling Stones. So I don't know. Rihanna doesn't seem up there on that level to me. I like her, but I think she's going to get some serious competition from the Puppy Bowl. So, why do we love these little critters so much? A friend of mine once told me, I believe that divine intervention made babies so adorable, and there's my puppy, so adorable. So we would just fall in love with them and grow so attached to them that we could never abandon them. And that's kind of what happens, right? Now, sadly, some people do abandon their children and some people abandon their dogs. I could never do either, and I think most people could not. So, but I think she was right. I think that God or whatever divine being you believe in created these beautiful little baby things. I mean, any baby, a baby monkey, a baby zebra, maybe even a baby snail. It's just so cute that we just fall in love with them. There was a reason they did Muppet Babies, right? Remember that? You just fall in love with babies. So I think that because of that, then we grow so attached that there's no way we're ever going to part with these things. Yeah. No humans can imagine parting with a child, and people who lose children are never, ever the same. I don't want to go there. And so then when you get a puppy, you shower them with almost as much love as you would a baby. It's crazy. The pet industry is ridiculous. Now, I grew up with dogs, but it's been close to 30 years since I got another dog here. And his name is Jersey, as many of you know. Our last dog was an Irish setter named Murphy. He was a damn good dog, and I miss him. But when I finally convinced my husband in January that a dog would be a great addition to the family, he relented. Now, he didn't want a dog. And he held out for all of our marriage until now. And it was only because I was retiring from my sideline reporting career. And I promised him, actually, I guaranteed him, you will not have to lift a finger to care for this dog. And so far, I've held up my end of the bargain. So this mini Labradoodle Jersey is in our lives. He's came into our lives in March. And early on, I was reminded why I will never do this again. I will never adopt another puppy. Because in March in Minnesota, when you're potty training at 4 a.m, well, it's just not that fun. It's not that fun in California, but it's even less fun in Minnesota. So more painful than expected. But from the get-go, I invested time and money in training this dog to make sure this adoption worked out. And here we are, almost 1 year into this new relationship. And I'm kind of a mess. But not for the reasons you would think. I'm more emotional. I kind of obsess over his care. I'm the last line of defense for this puppy. Now, my 17-year-old son promised he would walk the dog twice a day. I can remember it vividly. Mom, I'll walk him twice a day. Well, you can imagine how that promise turned out. Take your teenage son's promises with a massive grain of salt. My 14-year-old daughter has been a champ when it comes to playing with the dog and wearing him out every night. She also doesn't drive yet, so she doesn't have that independence that my son has. She's a little bit more housebound. But ultimately, I am the dog mom. So do I have regrets about adding this responsibility and commitment to my life? I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I have some pangs that go a little bit like this. I really need to do laundry, but I got to get this dog to the park. Or, damn it, why does Jersey only bark when I'm recording my podcast and never throughout the rest of the day? Or, please sleep through the night. Please sleep through the night. Please sleep through the night. My husband has mentioned I might be setting my standards of dog care a tad high, but he also acknowledged my standards for just about everything are a tiny bit unrealistic, and he's right. This dog's life is pretty sweet, and yet I always wonder if I'm coming up short. Am I giving him too many treats? Am I not giving him enough treats? Is he getting too many walks? Am I not walking him enough? Is he getting too much love or not enough love? And it's kind of funny because this dog isn't needy. He's a little picky about his food, but he's pretty happy all the time, as I suspect most dogs are. He doesn't even need or want cuddling as much as we would all like to cuddle him. So what is it that I am trying to accomplish with this pet whom I brought into our home to make our lives fuller, warmer, and more fun? I guess I'm trying to make sure he's as happy as everyone else in the house. But just as I did with each of my children, I've become so freaking emotional when I'm away from this dog. I worry. I miss him. I wonder if he's happy and healthy. My best friend Kim once said, if I knew raising kids was going to be so difficult, I might not have done it. Of course, she wouldn't trade her now grown kids for anything. But the point is, we have no way of truly knowing how challenging it is to raise kids or puppies until we actually do it. We also have absolutely no way of knowing how much love we will feel for our babies until we hold them for the first time. It is in that moment that life is forever changed. And in spite of the many trials and tribulations you face as a parent, the love you feel is overwhelming and impossible to explain. I can't imagine my life without my kids. I would not compare getting a dog to having children, but adopting a puppy has changed my life. And with my kids requiring less of my attention these days, this dog fills the void. The worry and angst are the hardest parts, and I am self-aware enough to know I need to chill. Jersey has survived his toughest days, and he will get by when I'm out of town or otherwise engaged. So I'm a mess. But what a blessing. And thank God Jersey was so adorable to begin with. Coming up, the simple life and why it's so alluring. So, with an added member to the family, this dog, our 2 kids, college educations to plan for, all those kinds of things, Our long-term financial plans are very, very important, as I'm sure yours are to you. And in this day and age, in Joe Biden's America, with everything costing more and the long-term outlook being so uncertain, well, that's where gold and silver can be a really good play in your retirement plans. And you can speak to an IRA expert at the company that I trust, Legacy Precious Metals, to answer all your questions. How much should I invest? How little? Do I invest in actual gold and have it sent to my house and put in a safe, or do I put it in my IRA, my 401k? How do I do this? Legacy Precious Metals can answer all of your questions about this. See, investors are buying more gold because gold is a hedge against inflation and it protects against a weakening dollar. And back in 2008, the last time we had some economic hell in our country, those who invested in gold saw significant gains while others lost their retirements. So while you still have the time and the opportunity, call Legacy Precious Metals and speak to an IRA expert. 866-528-1903. 866-528-1903. Or download their free investor's guide at legacypminvestments.com. legacypminvestments.com. So I come into 2023 yearning for less, not more. Maybe more time, more quality time, more organization, more focus, but yearning for less in terms of property and stuff. So welcome to 2023, a year quickly being marred by bickering on Capitol Hill, a frightening episode on Monday Night Football where we saw Damar Hamlin collapse and need CPR. His heart stopped on the middle of an NFL field. And more revelation that the government was trying to suppress speech on social media. And now Joe Biden having classified documents in his garage. Damn, I thought all we wanted was peace on earth, goodwill toward men. And it looks like we'll already have to rely on ourselves for that. But the question is how? How do you get more peace in your life and goodwill toward others? Well, there's an old adage that says less is more. Fewer words, for instance, make your point more clearly. Less makeup on your face is generally always better than more, at least most times. And less food and drink generally leaves one feeling more healthy. So I've been considering acquiring less stuff, scheduling fewer commitments, and simplifying my life. I'm not sure I'm alone because, let's face it, amidst the culture wars, the political fights, and the financial chaos, an escape hatch sounds pretty good. Over the past few years, I've noticed an elevated attraction to the simple life. She said, the simple life, which I'm sure means different things to different people, right? I mean, some people think the simple life is not working. Some people think it's working and doing a really meaningful job. Some people think it's work and only work. Just keep it simple. Just work. But let me give you a few examples of what I mean by this attraction, this attention to a simpler life. So HGTV is extremely popular. It used to be sort of this tiny little cable channel, and now you've got Discovery Plus that has HGTV and all the cooking shows, and you've got Magnolia. So shows like Fixer Upper and Hometown, if you don't know them, they're wonderful. And they attract really significant audiences. And, you know, when you consider that Fixer Upper is based in Waco, Texas, and Hometown is based in Laurel, Mississippi, I mean, this is not Friends. This is not the Mary Tyler Moore Show. What's not to like about these little towns that have less traffic, less noise pollution, and they really don't seem to have defund the police campaigns? These are quiet little country towns, and I think we like that. We like that part of this. In Fixer Upper, Joe and, damn, his name's escaping me. I can't believe it. Joanna Gaines, Chip and Joanna are raising their kids on a ranch. The kids ride horses, they milk cows, they take chickens and get the eggs and take them inside. And it's idyllic, right? And on Hometown, they live in a little town called Laurel, Mississippi. They've got one child or two now, maybe. And they just raise them real simple. Go to church. Dad works. Mom works. Not a lot of complexity there. So the shows revolve around these wholesome couples whose goals are to beautify, rebuild, renovate, and rejuvenate homes. It's a simple yet satisfying objective. And there's the subplot, like I said, raising their kids on these homes surrounded by lots of land, baby goats, flowers, warm weather. I mean, where do I sign up? Another example, the hugely popular Great British Baking Show. This is one of my favorite shows on television. I absolutely love it. Why? Well, it's set on location in the beautiful English countryside. You know, you see grass and flowers and trees and little birds. The object of the show is to whittle a group of talented bakers down to one champion. And viewers are treated to humor, creativity, stunning baked goods from a wonderfully diverse group of contestants. Again, simple yet satisfying. They all gather in this big tent and bake. And what's not to like about the show Ted Lasso, another hit, multiple Emmy award-winning Ted Lasso. Impossible to watch this series and not smile at the end of every episode. I remember talking to my producer on Sunday Night Football, Fred Godelli, about this. We both love this show. My husband loves it too. My mom loves it. Everyone I know that watches it loves it. And it can end in a really dopey fashion with people singing in the street, for one example, on a Christmas episode. But you're still smiling. You're not angry that it's dopey. You're happy that it's dopey. The characters are all lovable. In spite of their flaws, they're all lovable. You finish with a smile. I find myself happy at the end of every episode. And there's no violence, no crime solving, no intense medical drama, and no preaching politics. It's just fun. My final exhibit, country music. What could be more American than country music? Okay, you may or may not know the artist Jordan Davis. Let me present the first verse of his song called What My World Spins Around. Now, when I wrote this Substack piece, this song was at the top of the iHeart country music charts. What My World Spins Around by Jordan Davis. Let me read this to you. I love a first cast when the water's glass and the line starts to run. Or that first sip of a cold beer when the working week's done. I love the twilight in the morning for the day wakes up with the windows down on the first ride in a paid up truck. Right? Simple, relatable, nothing complicated. Like so many country songs, the lyrics hit home because they touch the part of us that craves a simple life. Casting that first line on the water. Starting the weekend with a cold beverage. Seeing the sky at the dawn's early light, and overflowing with pride and accomplishment after paying for that newly acquired vehicle, even if it's a pre-owned vehicle. I get it. Not everyone likes country music. I didn't used to either. But the fact that my 17-year-old son listens to it when he's not cranking up the Smiths or rap tells me a lot. My theory is he wants a break from the noise. The stress of school, the clutter surrounding every teenager who owns a phone. He wants to believe that there is simplicity out there somewhere for the taking. And after years of strongly disliking country music, I found myself appreciating the genre too. Simple themes, love of country, no political nonsense, and often a lot of fun. Life is complicated. Taking a break, imagining how simple and beautiful and easy it could be, putting aside all our wants and focusing only on our needs provides a respite. We don't need a vacation to rest. We only need a place in our minds that allows us to absorb the beauty right in front of us. Our kids, the moon, good coffee in the morning, good wine at night, a cleaned out closet, your dog's smile. Since leaving the NFL sidelines, I am pleasantly amazed by how invested I am in my daughter's high school basketball games, my son's baseball team, my trips to the dog park with my Labradoodle, my nightly conversations with my husband, cleaning my house, connecting with my friends, my mental health. It feels good. I'm not yearning for more right now. I'm yearning for less. Frankly, it's more seductive. And less, maybe more, in 2023. Thanks for listening to Sideline Sanity. As always, be brave and do good. Always a good day when Charles Thorngren of Legacy Precious Metals can join us and answer some really different questions. And I thought of a few new ones for you, Charles, if that's okay. Yeah, I'm fascinated, and we hear so much about gold and silver and precious metals. So if I could just ask this broad question, what is the role of gold in a portfolio?
Great question. And when we look at that, and the answer to that has a couple different features to it. It depends on the individual, but its main purpose is the insurance policy for your finances. It is meant to be the foundation by which you do all other things, right? We know that gold and silver have an inverse relationship to the dollar. It protects your purchasing power. So when we invest, that's what we're saying. We want to make sure that we have the ability to manage our money and have our money do what we need it to do for us. It's not the collection of dollars for dollar's sake, but for what it does for us, how we pay our bills, how we retire, how we feed our family, how we go on and bless others and donate to causes we believe in. That's what money does for us. It's not the dollar itself. It's the thing it provides for us. And what gold does is make sure that that money continues to have purchasing value.
Because there are times we find that, hey, my money doesn't have the same purchasing value it had last month.
Absolutely. And this is a unique time. We're seeing it. This term called hyperinflation, which usually refers to, inflation in the 18s and 20%. I consider this a time of hyperinflation because it's so much more than what we're normally used to, right? When we prepare and we budget and we say, this is the course of my life and this is how I'm going to do things, this is where I'm going to put my money, we use some basic numbers. 2 to 3% inflation, that's what the Fed says is good. But that's not even great. Over a lifetime, that's a lot of inflationary loss to your dollar. But when you have a period where it jumps to the points where we're at now, and we're in the 8.5s, 9s, going to be into the double digits soon, in this shorter time frame, that's a hyperinflation situation to me because it throws everything off dynamically and so radical.
You do see us going into double digits, huh?
Absolutely. The Fed even sees us going into double digits. There was an interesting report where one of the Fed chairman were saying, 2023, we're not going to talk about that. But in 2024, by summer, we may be able to start to drop the interest rates. When someone tells me they're in charge of something, but they say this new year that's coming, just forget about that completely. We're not even going to talk about that. That's a bad sign.
They don't want you to think about it.
Exactly.
They want you to look past it and sort of write it
Write
out.
it off right now. Just don't even think about it. It's going to be bad. But hey, 2024 though, and interestingly enough, right around the time of an election, they want to start talking about what they're going to do.
Isn't that fascinating? That timing is just really interesting. Before we finish up here, I'm always fascinated with how gold is priced. How do we get a price of gold?
The spot price of gold is really determined by the world market, the London Bullion Exchange, right? And this has been for hundreds of years now, sets a price, and the rest of the world revolves around that. Now, our currency will determine how much more than it is in the pounds and things like that. And there's a calculation for it. But that's one of the great things about gold and silver. Their value is recognized around the world. No matter what currency, what country you're in, it has value. I just recently come back from a trip where I was overseas not that long ago, and I bring gold with me everywhere I go. Not a lot, so don't try to catch me in the airport. But I have something that is valuable no matter where I'm at. I can go anywhere in any country and turn that into its currency in no time at all.
You're talking about carrying around physical gold?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. Do you
How
walk
much
around
is
with
safe
dollars?
to carry around if you're no, you're right. So if and that gold is going to have the same value across the board, no matter where I go,
Slight
right?
deviations,
Because
very slight deviations,
yeah,
but it's not very large.
okay,
Usually less than
yeah.
1% difference in the
This
price.
is really interesting. I can't let you go before I ask you this because I'm picturing you now walking around with some gold coins in your pocket. I'm thinking, wow, that would feel risky. But when you go into another country, for instance, with some gold, how easy is it for you to go say, here, I want to exchange this for, or, I'm assuming you're not going to a restaurant and slapping down a
No,
gold bullion or
no.
something.
But you could overseas. In certain places of the world, they recognize that just like regular currency.
Wow.
But I wouldn't use gold
But
for
it's
dinner.
easy to exchange once you get to another country.
Yeah,
Just
very easy. Most of the time, you can do it at the
interesting.
airport. Same places where they change currency. A lot of them will change metals too.
And is physical bullion the best way to go?
It is. It really is.
When you're traveling, or always in any investment in gold?
There's certain things you can do outside of just bullion that may make sense once you've laid a portfolio down, right? Diversity in metals is important too, but your basis for all investments should be your basic bullion, whether it's gold or silver. You want to have that foundation set in the base metal itself, giving you the most value that you can get.
And obviously, every person's situation is unique. So why not just call and speak to an IRA expert at Legacy Precious Metals, 866-528-1903, 866-528-1903, or they can always download your free investor's guide, right? It's at legacypminvestments.com, legacypminvestments.com. Do you have any gold on you right now?
I do. Give me half a second.
I got to see this. I just want to see. I mean, it seems like almost like in the old days when you walk around with that, Mr. Scrooge and his gold coins in his pocket. Not that you're Scrooge. Can you sort of turn it around and show us that? That's now for our listeners. They're not going to be able to see what we're seeing, but you've got a little container, and they're kind of the size of $50, right?
Yeah, just about a $50. And this is the American Gold Eagle, and this is $22,000 worth of metal.
Yikes. Charles isn't messing around, and neither are we. But please go get your questions answered. This is such an important time to be thinking about your money, your long-term play, in addition to every short-term concern that you have. Charles, always good to talk to you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And you know what? 2023 is coming. Call now, find out, so you can make your decisions before then. Yes,
and before the elections again, and they can tell us what they're going to tell us then. They're telling you to overlook 2023. That means now's the time to inquire.
Absolutely.
Again, legacypminvestments.com. Charles Thorngren, always good to see you.
Thank you.